This will be part 4 of 1 Chronicles. And I left off right here. And I don't see anything difficult. Of course, since it's a new beginning here, these are the reasons why all these blue words are being taken out. If you followed me along enough, you'd know that I've gone over some verses, every word, and why they're wrong. But it just takes too long to do that, so I made a summary of it, and I'm just trying to make sure I do the most important part, and that's explain, like changing a word from sanctuary to a house. If it's close, I'm leaving it as green, or I'm removing it and putting it as a yellow text, a yellow highlighted text. Knowing who is who and what where and doesn't make any sense to us today, and all this is not really truly needed. A lot, huh? Okay, well, that's what happens when you find out a lot of that's just garbage to begin with. Anyways, this is picking up with Solomon going to build his place, or build our Creator's house. And here is finally the story David's going to tell him that he's made preparations for it. And then we had we haven't got all the tribute from all the different areas yet, but the object here is this is what's going on. At this time, he's not, this is just being told about Solomon. And it's not about building his court. It was his house and his courtyard. Inside the courtyard where the priests were to bring things to the altar, their offering to the altar. In fact, I think it's going to be funny because they're going to change all that in another book. I'm just thinking Eli's two sons, how they, anyways, but observe to obey. I guess that's a more change than it should be, but you're supposed to obey, not just observe. You're supposed to obey our Creator. And I don't have a break here of 1, 2, 3, verse 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3. Maybe it's broke right here like that, then David. So you can see the format is changing from a 4 to a 3. And it's not his house, it's his porch, because the thing here is you're building the house and the fence here. Well, you have to build the house, not the porch. The porch isn't that important. Courtyard is needed. A house for meeting with him is very, very, very important to understand our Creator. This is a title. It's going from his tent for meeting with me to his house for meeting with me. And David made the plates. This is to atone for your sin or not obeying one of the 12 commandments. You needed to bring a sin offering. So these are sins. And those 12, they brought, some would bring a ram, and they would lay their hand on it, and then they would kill it, which is sacrificing the animal. And then the priest would remove the muscles or the action of the sin and put that on plates. Okay, so they needed forks and knives made from silver. That's what these are for. And then when they take them to the altar, there's these hooks on top of the altar that they're going to use these forks again to hang the meat, and then bring over the wood, then the fire pan is going to grab the fire, whatever's on the fire stand, then bring it over and stick it underneath the wood, and then up in flames goes the offering, and the smoke, the stenchy smoke that's coming up, the male on the outside can see that the act of the sin being forgiven is disappearing, and then the priest goes in and asks for the atonement. Is he truly forgiven? And the priests have attendants when they're in there. They just aren't 13 priests. They all have attendants that help them with this that's going on. So, yes, that text is missing. I have yet to find that. Where it talks about they have attendants, but you need them. The priest would, the priest for your tribe would be sitting around the fence, and then they would come to their priest. And how do I know that? Is because our Creator had them camp around the tent for meeting when they traveled, so they knew where their location of their priest was, so they could get there. But the priest can't do everything by themselves, so they have to have attendants. Entirely under. I don't think those are difficult to understand. What I'm doing there. He progressed. He aged. Solomon aged. He got older while he was going on, because this story jumps to where our Creator is going to give him wisdom, but that doesn't happen until after he builds the house, and he starts, I think he's 12 years old when he starts, maybe he's 14 years, but then it's going to take him 3, maybe almost 4 years to build the house, and then this happens. So he aged. Okay. I didn't want to put in the numbers, because if you've seen the way I do numbers, I do it the old Hebrew way, and it's like this: 3 10s and 3. That's 33 years. So if you're counting, he reigned 10 years, and he reigned in Hebron. He reigned in Hebron 7 years, and in Jerusalem 3 10s and 3. There's your 40 years. Okay, but that's how they wrote their new miracles out. They didn't have a lot of these numbers. Wow, that's the end of this video. Man, I didn't know that I was going to throw so much out, and that was going to be the end of the text. That's an awfully short video. Let's see. Okay, are written in the Chronicles after Saul. Had to put Saul because David falls after Saul. And from this information here is quite unique, for the simple fact that it gives us insight into how they did scrolls, and this is pretty important. Example, Chronicles would have been listing the things that were done in the correct order, in which we don't have here, and then it would have been like a summary of the kings to the kings to the kings, who's who and who's where, and all the bloodline going back and forth, which would have been very sophisticated, but we don't have them. They tried to put the text is just garbage. That's you're going to say, oh, it does exist. No, it does not exist. Because that would be laid out more perfectly and easier, and it would have been in these hidden formats. These hidden formats are actually first writers formats. So I guess And then you'd see, look here, and then the days for Nathan his prophet and Gad his prophet. This might have to be switched around in order because of the way the story is here, is being presented as it is now. This would be in the wrong order, but it might be the right order, and that's meaning that I have to change this guy's name to the other prophet that I know that is at this time. But let me see here, because I don't think I have it pulled up. No, let me go get it then. Where did I stick it? Okay, let's go with 2. And this is book 2. This is number 2. And what I'm doing is preparing it by chopping it up. And these are the verses that when the text looks cleaned up, let me get this over a little bit more. And this is the text that I was looking for. And then what I've done is I'm still saving the location where it can be traced back. Still have questions of names and places, so there's still going to be highlights here and there. And then this here belongs someplace else, because this is the order of the kings. Okay, now here's the best list of kings. So if you said, well, where's that list? Here's the best list. I mean, it is stunning to see the accuracy of this list. This pretty much matches our creator's hidden formats. But if you go try to find a list of kings on the internet right now, they ain't like this. There is nothing like this. And this is a break to say it's another group or another story has started. Now, I'm not going to be jumping up and down and moving a lot here. I didn't do that here. What I just want to do is go through some of it and show you the cleaned up and some of the questions I still have, so in case you're picking up on this part of the text and studying it, I'm not sure if this is a diviner or a sorceress or how the words are going to define themselves later when I start putting all the books together. And so that name needs to be changed. When the stories are so close together, I'm keeping them connected. Esau's to Edom, I think I mentioned that in the last video. These were the names for the Hebrew name for the word that they had here in the Strong's Concordance. And then I'm still using, this is what I'm using, but this text will have all those that are doing a study on the Hebrew name or titles for our creator. And you can see that you wouldn't use, they knew who his name was, okay? So let's not try to say that they removed his name because it's too sacred to say. Yes, I don't know whether that raid that I was talking about is over in here where they were doing this, going back and forth, or was it up in here that they were battling at? So it depends on that location. So that's why that's being questioned. Here I found a word that, or a verse that I forgot to add words to make it a 3-verse grouping. So it is now in there. So, and I'm thinking that this should all been highlighted like this. These should have been all our creator's words here. And I try to separate them. I missed that. This city location, I've showed that before. This down here is known as Gaza, but that's where this here is what they're using at that time, and I will be changing that over once I find the text where it says to. And then I'm shortening up his name. I forgot to do that in the last one. All these should be at some point. I catch up maybe about every 3 months. So the video might not be up for these PDFs might not be up for 3 months if you tuned in exactly when I posted. So come back later and you will see, you'll have this text to work with or look at in all of this stuff. Wasteland, I'm starting to wondering whether that was the wasteland or not. So that's still in a question where other places I know are. I've got a verse here that we also prepared iron to make nails to build YHVH's house and fence to be larger and greater. That could be said without this here when I was reading it, because it's talking about the blocks being done, and that's larger and greater. This seems to be out of place when I'm reading it, so it most likely will move. Like I said, all these are pieces that go in different orders, okay? And right now you can see I got 25 pieces to a bigger puzzle. And okay, that's it. And I'm still got the question whether to move these back and forth or what needs to be done. But that's the format that I went and found. And as you can see, some are 4-verse, some are 3-verse. And I guess I can go to Chronicles 2 and start that one next.